Well, we'll see how much gas is left in the tank for game number 2 and potentially a game number 3 if CLG turns things around. They will have the first pick this time available to them, so we'll see where they opt to go. Freya was banned last time, as was the Chernobog. The Baron and the Naja wound up sneaking on through, but the Opwash, the first Opwash ban of what I expect to be many. Because this character is suddenly now stepping into the limelight, has had a lot of recent success.
But if you're going to ban away Opwash, are you going to now follow this up with a Morrigan ban, targeting out Venenu? No,
Nope.
It's got to be the Naja. I was surprised because I think Homiefe has a wonderful Naja as well.
That's true. That's true. Homiefe does have a wonderful Naja, but it might be a different direction that CLG want to go in. Space Station banning out the Global Guardian and the Freya. And right now, for the first pick, CLG are going to go with the Morrigan.
Wow.
And that's what I expected them to do there, totally.
Okay.
Using the pick as the ban, and I like that move.
But you're giving up the Baron, Samedi, and also one more pick that's escaping my mind, the top 5. There you go, the Chernobog. I'm like, there's 5. There you go. That's what I was thinking of. I'm like, all right, CLG left Baron and Chernobog left open on purpose so that they can get one or the other, but Morrigan stripped away from Venenu makes even more sense.
Chang'e going to be selected here as well. Another character that I wouldn't say is gone, but certainly not exactly numero uno as of late.
fineokay loves this goddess in the soul lane, being able to survive on numerous occasions against any sort of jungle gank. There was a time where he survived against an Odin soul laner that trapped him in the cage with an Achilles jungle gank. When you survive that kind of gank, it's just unfathomable.
Sometimes you feel it. Fafnir is going to be right next to him on the CLG. Achilles, one more time. Last time it was in the hands of Aquarius. We can guesstimate that that'll be the same thing. Ratatasker banned out by Space Station Gaming as CLG look towards the mid lane and say no to the Discordia that Venenu is very, very prominent on, or very, very proficient with. So going to ban that one out.
Camazot's ban really targeting out Homiefe in that one. It's a very comfort pick, I would say, for him.
That's a deep cut.
It is pretty much a deep cut. I wouldn't be surprised if he goes for maybe a Nemesis, trying to blow up these players that can't necessarily escape too easily. Baron does have a lot of movement speed, so that could get countered, actually. Yeah,
Nemesis is an interesting look, but because of the Baron, I think we might not see it. Anhur here, going to provide some slows on the other side for Space Station. And now Counter Logic Gaming, as they look to finish off their draft, the Morrigan, Chang'e, and Fafnir. They'll have a Robin in the jungle. And then the Hunter.
I was low-key hoping for a Habwa jungle this game out of Homiefe. I think that would have been an interesting idea, just to try to blow up the Baron as quickly as possible. Have Hurriwind potentially go into the second Habwa. Double crushing waves in a team fight is scary.
Well, they're going to have double suns now as Hoyi is the selection for the Hunter. Space Station Gaming, on the other hand, they've got their Hunter. They've got their Hebo as well. And so that is going to be a Hebo mid.
No, Venenu is going to be playing Anhur, probably.
Okay.
Unless he's going to be playing the Chernobog, and then Anhur's going to be played by BaRRaCCuDDa. Habwa, I got my money on andinster playing.
Yeah, I would much rather see Hebo in the jungle. It's where I think I like him the best. But is it enough to win the game and win the series? Space Station Gaming took game number 1 and we're ahead by 20,000 gold. CLG really need to turn things around here if they want to take the set. It's got to come from where?
I think it's got to come down from everybody at the end of the day. As long as they don't fall too far behind and they go into a neutral state at that 20-minute mark, they can certainly bring it to Space Station.
Well, John and Taco are going to bring us the game. Please and thank you, SSG CLG, game number 2.
Thanks, Tom. Thanks, Totally. One more time. Space Station up against CLG. Space Station trying to close this out right here, right now, and CLG trying to force their way into a Game 3. But Space Station Gaming got the Habwa in the jungle with their final pick selection. If this one gets off the ground running, that could cause some problems for CLG.
I almost wish it was Andy on the Chernobog jungle, just because, you know, sometimes you just want to watch the world burn. Yeah. And that would be this instance.
It would be your Joker moment.
Yes.
You know? Yeah.
Purely, but sticking a little bit more traditional with the unconventional, Space Station going to have Andy repping the Habwa jungle, and considering the burst it could provide, I actually like the concept behind it.
Yeah, this pick definitely could, you know, be a big disruptive factor for CLG. If they can catch Hurriwind out, You know, with the knock up into the ultimate, he might never get a chance to transform, depending on how it might work. You know, certainly someone like Snoopy could be blown up with it as well. Jigz very telegraphed out of the ultimate. So there's going to be a lot of options, I feel like, for andinster to definitely have a big impact here. And he's the kind of player that can absolutely capitalize on it as well, so I'm excited to see it from this jungle position.
Hurriwind with some decent poke damage there onto Venenu, but both mid laners trying to play things a little bit safe. They know this is around the period where the ganks start to happen. And Homiefe actually going to blink forward there onto andinster. Don't think he was successful, though, in the strip away of those mid-harpies.
Immediately got knocked up, and then the water spout for the follow-up. andinster very calm on the blink engage from Homie. That does mean for another 100 seconds, not to worry about him jumping in, but a 4-man collapse on the andinster. He gets a 4-man knock-up. Not going to matter, though. He's going to die inside that mid-camp pit. Homie finding first blood.
You've got company, pretty much, there for Space Station. Early rotation out of Jigz and Snoopy, but it makes sense considering that they don't have the wave pressure anyway over there in duo. BaRRaCCuDDa and JeffHindla trying to starve them of farm a little bit there, holding the waves. So Snoopy and Jigz feeling a bit more confident to just go right away for those oracles instead. And they just happen to be in the right place at the right time to collapse onto Andy.
And really, you can't even say really that andinster was like too far out of position, just was, as you said, that all the timing kind of ended up working out in favor of Counter Logic Gaming, and they were able to get a nice bit of a small lead here over Spacestation Gaming and slow down this Habwa. But again, that's just one early kill. It's certainly something to build on, but it doesn't really mean too much about where the game's going to go. Now, if Homie can find a couple more of those and get this Ravana really trucking, and that's something we can start talking about, because a Ravana from ahead, woo, that's scary.
Something I am concerned about, though, for Homiefe is that it looks like he's prioritizing the Achilles first and foremost in this Ravana build, and I'm assuming he's going to build boots and then finish it off into an Achilles runic shield. But the point is, he's building into the magical prots first, and outside of andinster, he still has the answer to BaRRaCCuDDa and Venenu with this double hunter composition. I almost think that he maybe should have opted for a little bit, or an item that would have been a better bridge between physical prots and aggression with damage, but as it currently stands, just going to have to see how this one pans out for him.
Yeah, it really won't help him against anyone except for the most part andinster. JeffHindla's damage will be relevant here early, especially if he goes with full down boot options, but I agree. It really seems as though he's hedging his bets around him ending up in those boxing matches up against andinster, and if that is the plan, if he's going to look to try and catch out andinster in the jungle and punish him, then I like it. But you know, if we see him in solo battling Aqua, or you know, trying to catch out Venenu or BaRRa, then you're right, it's going to look a little bit more suspect just in those cases.
Homie just needs to keep in mind that he might be a little bit more tanky to Andy, but not to really anybody else on the map for Space Station side of things. So positioning will be important, but then again, when isn't it?
It's always a big deal as Hurriwind is going to transform into the Anhur with the Desert Fury. He gets great damage onto Venenu and andinster, but no kill potential. Homie's right here and waiting. Already the blink has been used, so really no more opportunity to find any more kills, but they could force these two back as they're pretty low.
Just unfortunate for Hurriwind that Space Station was already so close to their tower line. Speaking of which, though, Homiefe not ready to let this one go. Going to end up finding andinster anyway inside of the T1 with that Mystic Rush.
andinster just sticking around a little bit too long, and Homie very cleanly able to dive in and finish off that kill. That's 2 times now the Habwa has been sent back to base the hard way, and he still has not reached level 5 or grabbed that ultimate. Homie, on the other hand, out in front.
andinster was expecting that, I'm pretty sure. The Mystic Rush into the Prana onslaught, and just not much that he could really do about that one. It just happens. One more wave syndrome will forever claim the lives of everybody.
Absolutely, it will. That's what these top-level players are so good at capitalizing on. We just saw Homiefe be able to do it to great success there in the middle lane, as he absolutely did go back and finish the Warrior Tabi first, and will have even more powers if he didn't just dunk andinster hard enough, as JeffHindla and BaRRaCCuDDa now want to come contest this purple buff. Jigz does get pulled in. BaRRaCCuDDa goes for the buff first and foremost, sending the dwarf on his way and heading right back into lane.
All they really used, though, was Jeff's life of the party, and considering that now they have the buff spawn timer, that could be problematic for CLG over here in duo. Snoopy and Jigz already having a little bit more difficulty in terms of just dealing with Jeff and BaRRa alone. So should Venenu start to possibly look for a rotation with that Living Nightmare on a purple buff invade, that could pose a very large problem for both Jigz and Snoopy.
And I wouldn't be surprised if we start to see that soon here. He has the Transcendence finished and stacking. Cooldown, so it'll be up a little bit more often. We really haven't seen Spacestation Gaming pull the trigger here just yet. It's been mostly CLG. And once they do, between the Chernobog, the Hobwa damage, if JeffHindla's there as well, I mean, they've got plenty.
I like this from Homiefe, warding really deep into Andy's jungle. He has a slight lead over him, trying to just abuse it even further. And now Homiefe looking to collapse possibly onto Aquarius. Nice damage so far, but Aquarius fatal strike just to create some distance between the two of them.
Aquarius does not have the teleport either, and that was the green light for Hurriwind and Jigz to come over here for the invade into the jungle. This time, all the early game pressure belongs to CLG, largely on the back of Homiefe on this Ravana in the jungle. 3-0-0, he's getting it done.
And I'm not surprised, Finch. This is what we wanted to see out of Homiefe in the last game on the Ratatoskr. He was just unable to because Space Station effectively shut him down by constantly aggressing inside of CLG's jungle, preventing Homie from ever having a real chance to farm. Once Homie got that first blood underneath his belt, it was just disaster from andinster that moment forward. And I like that he is continuing to strong arm it, considering that he did go for that on Achilles shortly after the Warrior Tabi. So if the concept here is to get ahead, farming Andy could maybe work out.
Venenu going to be the target here in the middle lane. Aegis has already been expended. JeffHindla's going to try and pull them away. Jigz gets controlled underneath the tower, takes quite a bit of damage, and just barely survives. Venenu makes it out as well. So despite the aggression from Hurry, Jigz survives, but now Homie's on his way. No blink, but has Mystic Rush. No, he doesn't. He's going to look for JeffHindla as Venenu gets Hurriwind.
Venenu will end up finding Hurriwind, but now Venenu's using that Living Nightmare to catch up to Homiefe. Cooldowns reset. Homie nowhere left to run. Crystallized Curses into the Vicious Barrage for the root, and that is way too easy of a setup for andinster to just come crashing in with that Hubwa ultimate.
Able to find a very nice and much necessary double kill in the middle lane for Venenu. Would have been nice if andinster could have got a little bit of that, but doesn't make too big of a difference. Venenu now on this Chernobog is going to be raring to go. That's the kind of impact that you can have with this Chernobog in the mid lane. He provides some control and tons of damage.
But did you see the burst from Andy on the crushing wave?
It's absurd.
Only pen boots, pretty much. That's all he had, and he still chunked away at Homiefe's life bar. So even with all that lead, Homie still needs to be very mindful. Of course, there's not a whole lot he could have done in that situation. I think that was just a moment of over-aggression by CLG, but they got to be careful not to have any more repeat instances.
Absolutely. CLG have done an excellent job so far of playing around Homie, I feel like, Taco. They've been able to pressure solo lane, able to pressure the mid lane several times by catching out andinster when he was there, even diving the tier 1s. They have to keep that going. I know Venenu made a nice answer back there just now, but Homie is absolutely still out in the lead. He can still dunk on Andy. He's got to make sure that they keep that going.
It certainly won't be easy, however, and CLG, it almost feels a bit like a race against the clock, but then you have to keep in mind, Hurriwind is on the Morrigan. She doesn't necessarily have to transform into this Ravana every single time. Right now, Hurriwind probably prioritizing it just because Homiefe is really far ahead. He does a lot of nice burst damage, and Mystic Rush is just an excellent diving tool.
Hurriwind going with that Doom Orb start that we have seen. Morrigan's been prioritizing movement speed by a pretty significant margin here lately, so that likely to be the idea from Hurriwind, trying to zip around the map as fast as possible. And I like what you were saying there. He doesn't have to just turn into the Ravana. He has a lot of options available to him whenever they need. Hurriwind's got to make sure that he's able to make those decisions quickly on the fly. Even in the Hobwa, if andinster's going to keep chunking like that, turn into it yourself.
Speaking of which, mild grouping there from Space Station, but it seems as though they have the red buff in mind here from CLG. Andy will get the last hit, so the buff has been secured now for Space Station, but no one left to pick it up. Hurriwind in the invis, wrapping around the corner side, looking to back up Snoopy if necessary, but Venenu's the one who could be in a spot of trouble here.
Jigz and Homie are there, but they can't find the hammer. BaRRaCCuDDa does have the pillar. Homie with the overhead kick does not get impaled back. Snoopy and Hurriwind on the backside. He's turned into the Anhur, but life of the party controls him. Aegis gets forced out early on, but no one there to help BaRRaCCuDDa, and Snoopy puts him down.
Speaking of which, andinster are going to use that crushing wave just to try and get a little bit more damage there onto Jigz and avoid the dot damage from the Draconic Form transformation. But Venenu ends up tracking down Hurriwind in the end. No Vicious Barrage just to pop that Crystallized Curses right away for the root, and Jigz with the detransformation in sight. CLG just going to be forced to retreat, and Space Station get the Gold Fury.
This is the right call. CLG have backed up on the back end of this, and I don't think either that they expected it, that they can feel they can fight. They don't have two members here, so Space Station certainly recognize that they have the control, and this objective will be theirs. And how important has Venenu been in responding to this aggression from Homie here so far? Yes, both sides of the fight got split apart, but he's the one able to chase down the kill, force out Jigz and Homie, and turn around and help them get gold.
Venenu just kept Hurriwind out of that engagement entirely. I love what Jeff did there by forcing out Hurriwind with the retreat into the Gold Fury pit. Then he jumps over the wall, and that just makes it easier, because if the fights are split, I would probably have to favor Space Station. They're the ones with a double hunter and a Habois. There's plenty of damage if they're not all grouped up at once, so long as they have at least one of those hunters to help assist whichever part of the fight they go to.
And that fight, we saw Hurriwind transform into the Anhur as well at the start of that fight. Didn't get maybe the max value out of it, as Snoopy favorably trades there with BaRRaCCuDDa despite the small level disparity, but Hurriwind is choosing to go aggressive with these selections, right? With the Ravana, with the Anhur. There's plenty of reason, consideration to go to transforming to another Chang'e. Waxing Moon is a huge tool in the team fights, you know, into JeffHindla to get another Baron ult. Doesn't always have to be for more damage.
Hurriwind might have felt as though Waxing Moon couldn't have really led to much more follow-up in that situation, because Homiefe was still a little bit further away from him. He was more towards that top right-hand side of the Gold Fury pit, not really in the direct area for follow-up.
Homie, linking in, looking for Venenu. Andinster's right there in support. Mystic Rush lets him get away from the knockup, but up into the air goes Ben, and Andinster gonna need a little bit of help, has to ride the wave to get on out of there. Dropping right back down to Venenu. He wants Hurriwind.
And he's gonna find him for sure. Double kill all too easy because of the burst damage. This Crystallized Curses into the Vicious Barrage every single time. Venenu, he's making it look way too easy, but Space Station, as well as CLG, kind of setting him up for it.
Spacestation Gaming answering back. CLG had a great start to this game. Homie was 3-0-0 at one point in the game, now 3-2-1 since then. It's been Venenu as the difference maker in these fights on the Chernobog. And now with BaRRaCCuDDa finding the Impale, they might take this fight in the middle lane.
It just feels like CLG are staying way too grouped on each other. Speaking of which, Sunbreaker has been expended and Snoopy's on the run right now. Jeff not going to be able to connect with the slows onto Snoopy, so the Ho-Yi still going to manage to stay alive. Possibly same can't be said for this T1 tower, however, as that's going to end up falling, and Aquarius will manage to strip away the solo T1 also.
Simultaneous destruction across the map. Just like that, Space Station Gaming find a Pyromancer, a fight, a tier 1 tower, and the one in solo as well. Make that 3,500 gold and 6,400 experience just like that. At the 11-minute mark, this game was in CLG's favor. Now, nearly 14 minutes in, it's completely flipped around on its head.
And that's how quickly the small mistakes can really build up, Finch. I just truly believe that CLG are spending a little bit too much time trying to rely on each other and grouping up. It's like false safety in numbers is what it feels like, because everyone is in the same spot for these Crystallized Curses into the Vicious Barrage combo. It's a root, it's damage, and Venenu gets an attack speed steroid out of it afterwards, so you know he's going to be connecting onto a immobile target with those in-hands.
And for the 3 people out there that still needed convincing that this roster swap didn't have anything to do with Venenu's abilities, he's putting it on full display for you here right now. Certainly still MVP at Worlds caliber performances coming out from this guy. And fineokay, he might soon here learn why. Able to get away, yes, with that immunity. Aquarius can't put him all the way down. Chang'e extremely safe and will make it on out. But Space Station look like they want this tier 2.
Both of his actives, however, just to survive. And those are 2 pretty important team fighting relics that CLG are going to be sorely missing out on should they take up a fight here pretty soon. Jigz forced inside of the T2 tower now, and Hurriwind already transformed into this Chernobog, but now he's got to wait out the life of the party.
JeffHindla is going to pull in fineokay, who responds with the Waxing Moon, but Aquarius is undeterred. Venenu, of course, finds the kill, and of course, finds the double kill. Now Jigz in some trouble as well as Venenu gonna drop the ultimate to reset the cooldowns. In the middle lane, Homiefe falls to BaRRaCCuDDa. Jigz in execute threshold, heals up out of it, and just barely survives, but tier 2 tower should come down in mid.
Snoopy is the only one from CLG not really suffering any form of casualties. He's just been left alone to his own devices. Spacestation aren't even wasting their time by chasing Snoopy around the map. They take the T2 tower. We don't care. We'll just go for the Fire Giant.
Grab 2 of our own, and why not grab the big guy as well, Fire Giant. I know you're tough, buddy, but Venenu and the rest of Spacestation Gaming a little bit too strong at this point. They're going to bring it down and be able to regroup, grab those last couple of towers in dual lane as well. This is such a big turnaround from Spacestation. I know they weren't dead to rights. They weren't, you know, a big knockout punch on the ground, but CLG answered back after that tough game 1 loss through Homie in a big way, and ever since then, Spacestation have made all the necessary adjustments.
It just feels like Spacestation pulled the rug out from underneath Homiefe's feet. He got off to a really hot start here, and I don't want to say that it's been a Hurriwind at like the root of the problem, but it does feel like some of these transformations have been a little bit too early on, a little bit too forced, and CLG, in the midst of looking for follow-up, assuming that the Changeling would be able to bring about a positive team fighting engagement, it ends up just being a complete counter engage from Spacestation because they have the Chernobog and the burst damage for follow-up that CLG just get wiped every time.
They really have been coming up just a little bit short every fight. It's andinster making it out of the fight with just barely some HP. It's Venenu being able to get up into the air and re-engage after JeffHindla creates some space with the Life of the Party ultimate, or Aquarius chasing out a member of the fights so early on that it's a 5v4 in Spacestation's favor. It's just these small margins that have been giving them the edge, and they've been able to capitalize every time.
Speaking of which, fineokay, Waxing Moon, not even able to connect onto anyone. Great split apart there between Andy and Aquarius, going to force that one to go right down the middle. And all the while, BaRRaCCuDDa with JeffHindla, they've already taken everywhere else. This T1 and T2 towers may as well finish things off, and Snoopy with the same sort of mentality, trying to get any little bit of farm that he can for his team.
Like a true jungler, andinster strips away the enemy speed buff, because why not? Phoenix on the left-hand side being considered only 18 minutes into this match. Meanwhile, andinster is going to try and force down the mid-tier 2 tower. CLG are completely spread from all sides and have to try and find a way to defend, but the left Phoenix already under siege. Not
only that, but one side is trying to defend against 2 different hunters who are incredibly far ahead of them. JeffHindla looking for the life of the party onto Hurriwind. Hurriwind instead going to use his own weapons against him by transforming into the Baron.
And that is going to mean that JeffHindla will fall to Snoopy. Venenu is very low as well. Mystic Rush not quite there, and the Crushing Wave brings Snoopy low. He jumps forward, andinster finds it, but a return kill comes out as well. 2 for 2 so far, but Aqua finds the double. Only Jigz and Homie still standing. Spacestation can't run all the way into the Titan room yet, but they got left Phoenix, and they might even be able to get the middle.
And they've also still got BaRRaCCuDDa in comparison to CLG, who only have Homiefe and Jigz, and that's a Robin without a Mystic Rush. This could very well be Spacestation's time to just push into the Titan room and look to end.
It looks like they certainly are going to give it a try here, Taco. Titan already down below half HP. Homie and Jigz going to make andinster their target, and BaRRaCCuDDa will happily continue to free farm. Spacestation Gaming, they're not even going to let us get to the 20-minute mark. 19 minutes exactly. Hey, take game 2 and the set over CLG.
It just felt like such a sudden collapse there from CLG after the start that Homie had. The map pressure was completely 180'd in just a couple of engagements, really, that took place in the mid lane. I am not sure if CLG began those initiations under the assumptions that it would open up the avenue for them to go and try to siege the Gold Fury right after, but it was just really well played by Spacestation in terms of the responses.
Yeah, Spacestation made sure that they handled it excellently. It was Homie who kind of initially got away with all that pressure, and Venenu, I felt like, was that stopgap and kept them even. Was that enough for Venenu to win your MVP vote, though, is the question. Go ahead and vote for us now in that Mixer poll. You can also, I think, place plenty of consideration towards JeffHindla. His Baron play in that game, yet again, was excellent, peeling for Venenu and setting up plenty of return fire.
I really liked what Jeff was able to accomplish there on the Baron. I think that Baron support is something that we're probably going to start to see rise more and more over the course of this next fall split.
Yes.
But I'm really excited to see what some of the other teams are going to choose to theory craft with it. I thought it was also a rather interesting switch up to see BaRRa go for the Anhur this time around, forcing Snoopy onto the Hou-Yi,
Right.
because Snoopy probably wanted to just look for a raw 1v1 battle again, and that's another really aggressive hunter he could have taken in that spot.
And this time he was able to get a matchup where he could be the one that was the aggressor in BaRRa. I felt he looked a little bit better for it, but that set does go the way of Space Station Gaming, kind of, I think, tightening their hands around that second place spot now and kind of showing that it's a clear top 2. We'll see. There's plenty more SPL to be done throughout the rest of the split. Let's get it back over to the desk, though, to close everything out.
19 minutes. What a game.
Very fast. Considering the way it started with Homiefe going 3-0 on the Ravana player, it was a nice flank from andinster immediately after, setting up Venenu for a double kill, and then since then, Venenu ran wild.
I mean, that's really the story here. 8-1-5 for the mid lane Chernobog. Out of control. You were correct. JeffHindla did play the Baron. Wonderful stuff. Space Station Gaming just did the damn thing.
And the thing was, CLG did everything in their power to deny Venenu his options, between the Outwash being taken away, between also the Morrigan being taken away, but leaving open the Chernobog for him shows the diversity and god pool out of Venenu.
And Venenu is going to be your most valuable player, probably because of it. Chernobog, the hunter, coming out here and doing big boy damage. You know, frankly, I think that Venenu is very happy on his new team, and I am happy to see him play with them. I think that he fits in with them wonderfully. The gameplay is there. The swagger is there. He's a wonderful guy. He's having a lot of success in his personal content, and I wish him the best. And this was a wonderful way to end week number 2 for him.
He had several double kills. That was the one triple kill that he got in the mid stages of the game, and 100% kill participation for this mid lane Chernobog, really showing off, honestly.
Wonderful. Just a great job in general coming out from Venenu and the boys there for Space Station Gaming. It's very exciting watching this team compete. As we said, E United might be a step ahead, but of course, this is the fall split. It all matters. They're certainly trying to go for it. That's going to conclude our second week of the Smite Pro League. This is how everything sort of landed. Tuesday was a rival taking a loss against Team Dignitas, which I think surprised a couple of folks. And then another surprise a little bit later was the fact that Energy handled Mouse no problem. I say a surprise because week 1 was not very good for them. And then week number 2, Energy win not just against Mouse, but against their arch enemy Obey.
And they needed that win so badly mentally, because losing to rival and Dignitas was a little bit expected out of them, but finding a victory over Obey Alliance definitely puts them in a great standings now, trying to climb it, sitting at 2-2 in Europe, trying to catch up to Dignitas. Space Station with this victory goes to 3-1, trying to catch up to E United.
Yeah, the undefeated defending world champions, certainly letting everybody know why they were in that position to begin with. So E United, the red, white, and blue, right there up on top. Week number 3 coming up next. We'll be starting that, of course, on Tuesday next week, and we'll see. We'll start off with the top versus the bottom. Energy will go ahead and take on SK Gaming. Some interesting games later on, though. I've really got my eyes on the Luminosity Trifecta match. I want to see if Trifecta's unit, their team, their roster changes have solidified just yet.
The battle of the bottom teams should be exciting, to be fair, between North America's matchup that you just pointed out and then Europe's Obey Alliance versus Mouse Sports could provide a lot of fireworks. It's very unpredictable with sometimes their drafting, the way they start off the game, and just buff invades.
Yeah, I'm really about that too. Mouse has been my team to watch pretty much all year. When they lose, they're still exciting, and Dardes just one of the most electric players in the league, I think, so you're not going to want to miss a minute of action, no matter if it's the top teams or the bottom teams. So fantastic stuff throughout the day. As I said earlier, this is the fall split, which means it's for all the marbles. We're trying to make our way down to HRX. The players have to play. Told you can't have my card.
Darn
but you
it.
can get a ticket
Oh, yeah?
to HRX. All you have to do is go to hi-rez.expo.com. Oh, wow. November 16th through the 18th.
Yeah. A little bit earlier in the calendar compared to the January of the first week, so make sure you pack away that coat and just bring a light sweater.
And that's what you want to do in person, but if you want to go ahead and have fun at home, right now there's a gem sale. But of course, more importantly, perhaps, depending on what you're watching or playing. The Smite Pro League is teamed up with Mixer, as you know, but now we're taking our relationship a step further, and we're going to link our accounts. You can do that at home. Go ahead to the website, and you can log into your hi-rez account and your Mixer account, link everything together, and that gives you the option. It makes you eligible to get lots of in-game cosmetics, gems, etc.
I like how you put it as a relationship status. That's how you know it's getting real serious. It's like moving in together almost at that point.
Hey man, me and Fascist over there, we were talking. We're like, yo, our two companies hand in hand, definitely something you want to do. But hand in hand, hold my hand, Tolly.
I don't want to.
Hold my hand,
I
Tolly.
don't want to. No. Please.
I wanted to hold my hand. Okay, fine. I won't hold your hand. On behalf of me, everybody but Tolly, and everybody watching in chat, thank you so much. We love you, and we'll see you for week number 3.